Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for those that have subscribed to the channel. We're now on 3,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for those that have clicked that button. Before I go any further, do click that button again if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. If this is something that you're interested in on this channel, so it's your spiritual journey, spiritual development, healing, spirituality, meditation, lots of different things on this channel to help you on your journey to find your path, to find your tribe, and to seek what we're all seeking really, and that is just knowing ourselves that little bit deeper. Today we're going to talk about spiritual awakening, the spiritual awakening that we're all currently going through. If you're on this channel, then that's something that I'm sure you're going through, or maybe you've started to experience things that just aren't quite adding up. Things are a little bit unusual, and things may be happening that you can't explain, and that's when things start to begin opening up. So getting into it, what is a spiritual awakening? Why is there so many people that are around the world globally going through this amazing phenomenon really of evolution of the self, of the physical form, but also evolution of the spiritual form, the energetic form? Many people look at themselves in a more holistic manner. They're looking at the full picture of themselves. They want to find out who they are, why we're here, answering all the questions, the big questions that nobody dares ask. And a spiritual awakening is basically turning everything around and going back to yourself, going back to you, becoming aware of what and who you truly are. You are spirit in form. That is the realization that we go through when we start to go through a spiritual awakening. But there's many pivotal points that we need to go through that are difficult, that stop us, that slow us down, that speed us up. There's many wonderful different things that we go through. I'm going to be using some of my own examples from what I've gone through over the last 10 to 20 years during my spiritual awakening. And my understanding is that this awakening never ends. We're always on, and we're constantly on a journey. And the more you unfold, the more you unwrap of yourself, the more you become aware of, and the deeper you go within yourself. So it's basically trying to get to the middle of the onion, the layers of the onion. That is to do with the healing, the self-awareness, the spirituality. The key to everything is going back to you, right at the core of the center of everything. So with that being said, I have drawn a little bit of a diagram here to try and guide you through the various processes that we go through. Whether you can see it, I don't know, but I've drawn it on here. Okay, so we've got like two circles, and I did a video recently and it was about circles, and it was about how we come back to ourselves, and I was explaining in that video that I'm going to do a longer, more in-depth video about these circles, and that's what this video is going to be about. This is going to be the little bit more in-depth version of that. So at the bottom here we've got where you start your awakening, you start your journey. Here we've got you start to experience things start to open up. I am going to go into each of these areas a little bit deeper. At the top here we've got it all goes quiet. At the side we've got a relaxed state, we go into more of a surrender state, and then we come back to the bottom again, we come back to the awakening. So the awakening itself is spiral. It was a spiral evolution of your consciousness, of your energy, that is permeating through every part of you. It is your energy. Some people call it your kundalini, your Christ consciousness. There's many different names and terms for it, but basically it's your birthright. It is your energy that is surging through your very being, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be found by you, the carrier of what that is. Because we are all connected, we are all spark of God, of source, of the universe, whatever you want to call it. And spirituality and physics and science, they cross over in so many amazing ways. They really do. There's so many parallels, and it's unreal to say that this stuff doesn't exist and this stuff isn't real, because it is blatantly obvious and it's in plain sight. The movies show us, TV series and shows, it's all there waiting for people to just pull the mask off, pull the blinkers away, and just take a good look at what is going on around them. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. So your beginning of your journey, you start your awakening. How do you know you've started your awakening? What tends to happen is, now what happened for me was I got to this point within my mental health, within the state that I was, and the majority of the time people on a spiritual journey, on a journey of awakening, tend to usually hit rock bottom, because there's only one way they can go back up. There's only one way they can go, and that is back up, basically. Not everybody. Some people have people around them that are already in tune with that part of life, and they may be already members of the family that are just bringing them into that realm of knowing. But usually 9 times out of 10 people are in a state of some sort of suffering and they can't find a way out. Then they start to look elsewhere and things start to happen. You start to become more aware of things, of people that are around you. You may find connections. So for my example, I found a connection with a friend of my brother's who introduced me to meditation. And we became very good friends, and he became aware of my mental health situation, and he said, "Have you ever tried meditating?" Me never thinking I would be that type of person that would do that, but we began doing a healthy meditation practice, and it was only for short periods of time. But those short periods of time really helped to give me clarity, to give me space, to just allow an element of peace into my mind, into my day. And like I say, it wasn't for long periods of time, but over time, because those short periods of peace were so profound and so powerful, I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to prolong that feeling. And so that might be something that you may go through. You may go through this process of just real darkness, heaviness, and you can't find a way out, but the universe usually does try to push things in your way, in your direction, to try and help you realize that there is something going on and there is help there. There is somebody there that is going to be able to guide you and show you in some way a way out. So that is the beginning of your awakening. So then what we've got here on the side is you start to look into maybe alternatives to help yourself. So for me, it was meditation. I've also written down therapy, healing, energy healing, energy work, maybe also medication from the doctors, from your practitioners, whatever, which I was on for probably about 10 years, medication, and I wouldn't ever say to anybody to just stop taking medication, especially when you're going through this stuff, because there is that much that can sort of like take over. It's really important to just keep that going, you know. And even if you feel you want to just ease off a little bit and just take it down a notch, always seek your doctor's recommendation, your doctor's advice first before you try and take yourself off that, because I've seen a lot of posts from people across Facebook that have been going through a spiritual awakening but have also just totally stopped all their medication. And I tried this a few times. I tried just stopping the medication, and people are saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's terrible. It's the worst thing you can do." I've had enough of it. There must be another way out. And yeah, it was horrendous. It really was horrendous. So if you are on that, please don't stop. You know, see your doctor, see whoever you're seeing for your mental health, see them first just to get guidance. But most of these healing modalities, the meditation, the Reiki, the energy healing, work so well. That's why they call them a complementary therapy, They work so well alongside your medication just to help keep you balanced, to keep you in a good place. All right, so we start to look for alternatives that may be out there. Okay, so the next thing is you start to experience things. So for me, this was where it got really interesting. I'll put that down for a little bit. Is because I'd started doing the meditation and things started to happen around the home, which I'd never really been aware of before. Whether it was just because I was so in on myself, I don't know. But I started hearing voices, I started seeing things. During meditation, I had a few times where I sort of like came out of my body slightly and then went back in. I was laid meditating one night on the sofa, just with some gentle music on, and I'd finished the meditation. I opened my eyes and I saw a man sat in the chair opposite me, just watching me quite calmly. And then I had to like look again, and he just disappeared. I heard my name and my brother's name called a few times, like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, something like that. You know, those times between 3 and 5, all that stuff that goes on. So all that stuff is starting to happen because now you're being shown that there is something more, and you're being actually kind of connected to yourself. So you need to be aware that this energy that is all around you is a part of you. So what is going on is you're having to be shown this stuff to make you aware that this is what you already are. You are already this energy that is everywhere, and you become more openly aware of stuff, especially when with the meditation, with the healing work, because it's working on your energy, it's working on your energy field, it's clearing blocks, it's clearing all sorts of stuff internally that you need to be working on, and that's why you're starting to experience stuff. So for many it can be quite a turbulent, scary time because they're not really sure what's going on. For me, I was scared shitless. It was just like I thought I was going nutty. I really thought I was cracking up because obviously I just started going through this process. I didn't really know what was going on, what was happening, why it was happening. Obviously now looking back in hindsight is a great thing, but at the time it's just like, shit, what is this? And yeah, it was really bizarre. It was to get lots of feelings around me, lots of feelings around the home, and I still get feelings around me now, but I know who they are and what they are. I know that that's my team, it's my guides. I know they're always around me, helping me, guiding me, keeping me on the path that I need to be on. And the further you go down this path, the further you become more aware, you become more open to it, the easier it does become. It does become a lot easier. It becomes almost, we'll get into this, but it becomes almost euphoric because you're like, wow, it actually, you feel something switch on and it makes you think, wow, this is like actually pretty trippy, this is pretty amazing. And so when you start experiencing these things like I've got here, what you're doing is you're unlocking, which is what I've written there. And this is also a point where you start seeing synchronicities. You might not be sure what the synchronicities are or what the numbers mean. When you're seeing numbers, when you're seeing repeating patterns, when you're thinking of things and it comes into your reality, or when you watch something and then you see it like later in the day or that same week, or somebody talks about it, you're opening up your guides, your spiritual team and your energy. You're connecting on the same frequency. So a lot of people talk about the spirit guides, the spirit team, the divine, the universe, God, source. They often talk about this stuff, but I think many people think of it as like an external thing, but you become more aware that you are already it. You are already spirit in form. You are already the divine. You are already the universe. You are already God. You are already Christ consciousness. It's already there. You're just rediscovering what and who you truly are. And that's why you're getting the synchronicities. And that's why you're getting all the right people around you at the right time, because they've been sent to you to give you the message and the understanding that yes, you are on the right path. Don't be afraid, even though you may feel it. Don't be afraid, because you are being guided in the right direction, and everything is happening for your highest good. Everything is divinely guided, regardless of what people may say. Everything, you know, I was in that place and I was shit scared and I thought, fuck, what is this? But you look back at it now and you think, wow, that was just like, if I could experience that again, I'd be like, yes, bring that on. I would love to like see, feel and experience as much as what I was experiencing then. It's very, very subtle for me now, you know, but I think when you start, it's like you need to get a bit of a wake-up call. You need a bit of a slap in the face, and that's what it does. It kind of like, it gets you ready. It gets you in the right state of mind, the right place. So, and then that's when you come across this euphoria, this euphoric feeling and this bliss, because you become more comfortable with it. You do actually become more comfortable with it, and you think, the other thing as well about people that go through this sort of awakening and this experience is they're usually already probably quite open-minded. They usually already question a lot of stuff, and they probably deep down already have a feeling that they're slightly different to everybody else, and they see the world in a different way. They see the systems in a totally different way to everybody else, and that's why, because it's only really those people that do see that can experience this. Because I think if the people that didn't start going through this, I think there would be a lot more issues going on. But like I say, everything is divinely guided. I mean, I can't like conceive with my own mind what would happen, you know, but I think it would be anarchy. I think it would be absolutely crazy. I mean, especially as well when you get a lot of people now that say like, oh, everyone just needs to wake the fuck up. You know, no, everybody doesn't need to wake the fuck up, because people need to be at their stage of life where they are. Not everybody is going to go through this. So if you are going through this, then you're extremely gifted, and you're on a journey of massive self-discovery and upgrading, unveiling, revealing of what and who you truly are. So this euphoria, this bliss feeling comes over, and then all of a sudden what happens is you go through your cycle, things start to go a little bit quiet, and also you may be aware of old patterns, old repeating patterns, old thoughts, and a little bit of dark night of the soul. So sometimes we have a bit of dark night of the soul with the awakening, because that's kind of like how it has to unravel to basically push you onto this path. And also I want you to notice as well how I've got awakening here, and we've got everything goes quiet here, and here we've got your experiencing things, and over here we've got a relaxed state and surrender, and it's all opposites. And that is what you are. You are the reflection of that as well. So everything is an opposite. Everything is yin and yang. Everything is dark and white. And everything has to happen in this way. But the dark night of the soul is something a lot of people talk about. And the shadow work, the pain body, the Eckhart Tolle stuff. We all have to go through that on some level. And we're always going through it, because as I mentioned earlier, the more you go on this journey, the more you unravel about yourself, the more you discover about yourself, the more sensitive you become to yourself, and then you become more sensitive to actually other things that need to be looked at and dealt with within you, within your life, within everyday occurrences, within your triggers, your traumas, your mind state, your mindset, your body, your physical body, what's your physical body telling you. You know, so there's so much, there's a lot that is going on at this point. And again, sometimes this can be quite overwhelming when there's a lot of stuff going on. But I think for me personally, it was compartmentalizing it and just breaking it down into small chunks and just dealing with it a little bit at a time. And the more you keep with your practice, your meditation, the energy work, the healing, whatever practice or whatever therapy that you go to help facilitate this journey, all this stuff will come up naturally, automatically for you to become aware of. If you don't become aware of it and you don't want to heal it and what have you, it will just subside back down and it will come back up again on the next cycle for you to be aware of. And I've seen this many a times, and we can, this area as well is somewhere we can get stuck for quite some time. A lot of emotions, a lot of the ego, a lot of the anger, a lot of fear, a lot of resentment, a lot of stuff, inner child stuff as well, a lot of traumas and memories start to come up at this point. So you can be held in this point for quite some time, sometimes even years. But everybody's different. Everybody's awakening journey is different. It's unique to the individual. So whether it takes years or not, it's nothing to be worried about, really. It's something that you need to go through. It's something you need to experience, and you just need to take the steps along the journey with it. Whatever you feel you need to do, however you feel guided, just do it, but take the action with it. Don't become stuck. Don't become too stagnant with it. And yeah, the old patterns, these will come back to remind you of this shadow. So your shadow is overlooking where you were. So the shadow is, I've done a video ages ago about shadow work and how you can do shadow work. Actually, I'll link it in the descriptions box below so you can check it out. I think it's still on the channel. I don't think I'll have deleted it because it's quite a popular video. But it was basically about shadow work, and it was the basics of shadow. And basically, I was explaining that if you think of yourself, this is like kind of you. This is your ego, all right? Your ego is like the wall. Your shadow is what lies behind you. And so your ego pushes all the stuff behind you that the ego thinks you don't need to be aware of. You don't need to think about that. You don't need to worry about that. Push that behind you. Push that emotion behind you. Push that trauma behind you. Forget about it. But then all of a sudden you start going through these cycles and it all starts flooding forward. And that's when we need to do the healing work. That's when we become more aware of it. So then after we've done this, and we started going through the old patterns and the dark night, we then become aware and remember of our teachings. So again, this is opposite here. So you've got your meditation, you've got your healing practices, and then you've got remembering this. So you're going back to basics really a little bit, and starting this cycle again a little bit, just getting back into your practice, back into that deepening of yourself. And as you start to go back into this deepening of yourself, you actually start to become more relaxed with yourself. You become more safe. You have a relaxed state, and you go into a level of surrender. There's many, many, many levels of surrender, and it's not about giving up. It's just about letting go. And it's letting go of you. It's letting go of aspects of you that you don't need to hang on to. It's about letting go of the anger, the trauma, all this stuff that comes up, that creates tension, that creates friction within you, within your mind, body and soul. It's time to just have that relaxed state. And then when you do get to that relaxed state, it's, again, you start getting this feeling of euphoria and bliss, because you're like, you just kind of like let it go. And I've had this a few times where I've been in places, I've been working, I've been frustrated about different things with regards to how the business is going, or client work, and this and that. And then the little voices, they always tell me, look, just let it go. The more you let go, the more you will attract. The more you hold on, the more you will push away. Again, it's opposite. It's black and white. It really is. We need to look at this stuff as total opposites. The way we react, the way we feel, is going to either bring in more of that negative stuff. So if we're thinking of the negative, we will bring in the negative. If we're thinking of the positive, we'll bring in the positive. So, but if we're constantly worrying and stressing, then we're going to bring more worry and stress. So the universe is showing you the reflection of what you're putting out there, basically. And this is in the realms of obviously manifestation, which is much further down the awakening journey. This is, as this all starts to unravel, you become more aware of manifestation, law of attraction, the secret, all that sort of stuff. Which the secret, I don't really go for that. But law of attraction, manifestation, it's extremely real, it's extremely valid. It's actually been proved to work by a lot of people, just by the mindset, putting the mindset out there. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a great guy for that sort of information. And then with this relaxed state and surrender, what comes up there is more curiosity, more questions start coming up. So you might be more inclined to, you get into this relaxed state, you get into this nice state of surrender, and this has happened with me before, where I've just let go, I've just surrendered, and I think, oh, that feels really good, yeah, and then things start picking up, and people get in touch and book this and book that, and then you start trying to figure out, like, well, why did all this happen? You start thinking again, and that's where more questions, more curiosity starts coming up, and then we start coming back to where we started. So again, this journey is cyclical, and I mentioned in that short video about, the chakras. Chakra, the Sanskrit for chakra meaning wheel. So it's a wheel, so the chakras turn, and as they turn, going open up the body, and it's a bit like the scale of consciousness. As the energy goes up the body, you go through all these different frequencies internally within you, and each level that you're going through, you're healing, you're awakening, you're releasing, you're letting go of blocks. So in the root chakra, you're letting go of fear, you're letting go of anger, you're letting go of all this stuff that's holding you down, and you're letting it go, and you're letting it sort of slowly move up, and you're purging all this stuff. And in the end, you feel energetically more alive, you feel revitalized, you feel physically better, you feel mentally and emotionally better. So there is a big balance. It's a balance game, again, black and white. It's balancing the physical with the mental, emotional, and the spiritual. It's the full picture. It's the holistic way of looking at life, at who you are, where you are, how you deal with it, how you're going to deal with it, and the processes that we need to go through. Some of the really fascinating stuff that happened to me, just as a quick story before we finish, is when I was going through all this stuff, and I was going through the meditation practices, and I was becoming more aware of things, I was becoming more opened up, I suddenly became aware that the place that I was working was extremely negative, which I already knew that it was, but there was a part of me that was hanging on to that again, so it was a process of having to let go. And when I became aware of that, something wonderful happened. The universe actually put my position up for redundancy, and I was like, so is this do I stay here and stay stuck in this rigid way of being where it's affecting everything, or do I take the leap and go for a change? Change is good as the rest, they always say. So I changed and went to a different place and started working in the coffee shop, and it was from this coffee shop that I was working where I found these leaflets about Reiki. Something in the back of my mind went ping, you need to know about this. So I learned about Reiki, I had some Reiki sessions, and then found out I could learn it and teach it, and that was the next big thing for me. That's what I had to do. So I had meditation, I had Reiki, I was using a lot of crystals as well. I do a lot of crystal healing as well. I love using crystals, and a lot of people diss crystals and they don't really give them much credit. But again, it's all about energy, it's all about vibration, and it's all about what you want to gain from them and what you want to get from them. They all have wonderful frequencies, and it's like anything in life, everything is a frequency. And so if you don't believe something's going to work, then it won't work. And because that is a frequency, you just kind of shut something down with your frequency. But if you're just open to try it, and the thing that I felt with me is I was being called to crystals. I kept seeing videos on crystals. I kept seeing things on social media, on YouTube, in the newspaper about crystals. And I was like, what is this about crystals? Because I was becoming more aware, I was becoming more open. I was like, is this something the universe is trying to tell me? So I went out and I thought, well, I'll just pick a few crystals, see what I feel from them. Very interesting. Everyone felt different. Every one of them, I had visions, I had tingles, I had feelings that I'd never felt before. So there was something vibrationally changing internally within me with using crystals. So crystals are an integral part of everybody's spiritual journey. Some people knock them, and like I say, some people aren't bothered about them, but again, that's their journey. You are unique. Your journey is unique to you. And then, so with the Reiki, the meditation, the crystals, and I looked into other ways of just trying to heal myself, become more open, become more aware. I wanted to see more. I wanted to experience more, and that was kind of like my journey. That's kind of like how it all really kind of cycled up and started out. Now, like I say, it's a lot more subtle. My connection is. It's still visual, it's still slightly auditory, and very much feeling and knowing, with the clairvoyance, and some days I'm really tuned in, and some days I'm not tuned in at all. But it really depends. You don't have to be always tuned in. You don't always have to be in that vibration. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, you have to come back to your physical body. You have to come back to you to be human, to experience the human life. And then you can actually, from a human feeling, knowing and understanding, you can experience all this stuff that you're going through within the awakening with a human aspect. You can actually start putting the physicality to why you're experiencing this, why and how the energy is working. As soon as you start to become more aware of how the energy and the frequency is working within your everyday life, it really starts to open up like your mind to so much more. It really does. And I mean, I'm still learning. You know, I'm not the all-seeing oracle. I know I'm not. And so my journey is continuous. But that's again why I wanted to start. When I started doing the Reiki, that's why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, to just start getting some wisdom, some knowledge out there, because everyone was starting to like open up about this stuff. Everybody was starting to talk more about this stuff, especially once we got to sort of like 2019, 2020, and like before then as well. Like for me, it was like when it really started kicking up, it was like 2012, and then 2020, when all that came about, with COVID and all that sort of stuff. That is when people really either had to just be aware of what was happening or remain where they were. And whatever happens is fine. There is no judgment, because we're all beautiful beings of light, and we're all on an individual awakening journey. And that is the key. I think we need to be humble with it as well. Very early on, we all go through the process of finger pointing and blame and like saying this and saying that. But as you become more spiritually mature, you start to become more spiritually aware. You just kind of settle yourself into your own energy. You become more peaceful. You become more relaxed. You become more just at peace with the knowing that there is a grander scheme beyond anything that we can put our physical minds to. We have to just feel it, and it's all through the heart. The heart is the key. The heart is the key to everything. And at the beginning of this video, I was talking about the movies, TVs. The heart is, when you watch things like Marvel or DC, and all these superhero movies, whether they always have their logo, they have it over their heart. So you need to wear you need to wear your logo on your heart. You need to be your own superpower, because you are. You are the most wonderful, unique, awakening wonder on this journey, and it is a blessing to have you here watching this video. But it is a blessing to be a part of this process with you, brothers and sisters globally. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it gives you a little bit of insight into some of the stuff that I experienced. Not all of the stuff, but just little bits. If I told you everything about some of the stuff that I've experienced, I would be here for hours on end. And I don't have the phone battery or the memory on my on my phone to hold that much stuff. But this gives you a little bit of an idea of the cycle of an awakening journey. Again, it might be slightly different for you. It might be slightly different. We're all unique. But this is kind of like, for me, I've sat with this, I've meditated with this, and this is kind of like the feeling I get from it, from my spirit team, from my own spirit. This is what I get from it. So I hope it helps. Do like and follow, do subscribe, check all of my links in the descriptions box below if you want to get in touch with any healing, any mentoring. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, in the next present moment. Have a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are. Much love. Namaste.